Joe Biden finally addresses the sexual assault allegations from Tara Reade. The mainstream media have been doing a good job of covering up for him and not asking him questions. Finally, he goes on Morning Joe. He talks to Mika Brzezinski, and he makes the strongest defense I've heard yet of why we should not pin these allegations on him.
I don't remember any type of complaint she may have made. It was 27 years ago. And I don't remember, nor does anyone else that I'm aware of. And the fact is that I don't remember. I don't remember any complaint ever having been made.
The fact is, I don't remember. This is by far Joe Biden's best defense. The one thing I believe from Joe Biden is that he doesn't remember. Absolutely. And he doesn't remember his own name. He doesn't remember where he is at all. So he makes this argument, which we would expect. And it was by far the highlight of the interview. Further down in the interview, he starts to break apart. You know that Joe Biden is not great with his words. He's always putting his foot in his mouth. He lets out a little bit too much. So Mika asks him, okay, you don't remember this. Do you know if there is a record of this woman filing a complaint? Are you absolutely certain that there is no record that she filed a complaint? This is a great opportunity where, if there is no complaint, Joe Biden can come out and say, yes, there is no complaint. Take that one to the bank. This is BS. We're moving on. But he can't say that because it seems very likely that there is a complaint. And so Joe Biden gives us this word salad non-answer of an answer.
As we
look, this is a very. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Please. No, that's all.
As we await for the records from the National Archives, are you absolutely certain? Are you absolutely positive there is no record of any complaint by Tara Reade against you?
I am absolutely positive that no one that I'm aware of ever has been made aware of any complaint, a formal complaint made by, or a complaint by Tara Reade against me at the time this allegedly happened 27 years ago, or until I announced for I guess it was in April or May of this year.
Let me see if I get this right. I'm absolutely certain that I'm certain and that there's no record of a complaint that of anyone that I talked to having a record or a complaint of anyone from the time in the ever or until May or until April. No, I think I'm absolutely no aware. Those words, I guess every word that Joe Biden used made sense, but when you put them together, they didn't mean anything. And they didn't mean anything because he can't be certain that there isn't a complaint, and very likely he thinks that there is a complaint. So, okay, so far, basically so good. What else is he going to say? He's going to use mealy-mouthed politician language. I don't remember this. Well, I don't know. There's probably not a chance, and maybe there is. Then Joe Biden goes too far. And we kind of move actually past the Tara Reade sexual assault stuff into the broader problem of Joe Biden's public life, which is that he's held virtually every position on virtually every issue. He doesn't really believe anything. He's corrupt. There's a lot of evidence of his own corruption. And so to begin, Mika says, why can't we just search these records? Your records are at the University of Delaware. Let's just open them up and give them a search. He goes, we can't search those records because those records contain many of my speeches and publicly held positions from over the years, and it would be unfair for those speeches and positions to be released publicly while I'm running for office. He's basically saying it would be very unfair for people to know what I've thought and done for my whole career, because then nobody would vote for me.
Okay, please.
Go ahead. The first is about your University of Delaware records. Do you agree with the reporting that those records were supposed to be revealed to the public and then they were resealed for a longer period of time until after you leave, quote, public life? And if you agree with that, if that's what happened, why did that happen?
Because, look, the fact is that there's a lot of things of speeches I've made, positions I've taken, interviews that I did overseas with people, all of those things relating to my job. And the idea that they would all be made public in the fact while I was running for public office, they could be really taken out of context. The papers are position papers. They are documents that existed, and that when I, for example, when I met with Putin or when I met with whomever, and all of that to be fodder in a campaign at this time, I don't know of anybody who's done anything like that. And so the National Archives is the only place there would be anything having to do with personnel records. There are no personnel records in the Biden papers at the university.
Stop talking. Quit while you're ahead. Initially he says, look, I don't have any, there's no personnel records in here, so there's no reason to open these up. I don't have any recollection of the complaint. No one else does either. Also, we can't open them up because it's got all my positions that I've held over the years, and we don't want people to know about my positions. Also, there are conversations I've had with Vladimir Putin. We definitely don't want people to hear that. It's like, what? Dude, now all you've done is convince me from the beginning of that clip to the end that we definitely need to reopen those records for way more than the Tara Reade stuff. I don't really care that much about the Tara Reade stuff. I mean, it's a good attack on Joe Biden because of the absolute rank hypocrisy of the Me Too movement and feminists, which we will get to in a moment because Lisa Bloom, the famous feminist lawyer, has proved this perfectly. But it's not really about the Tara Reade stuff, because Joe Biden does have a point. It's been 27 years, and it's strange that these things are just coming up now. Should they be investigated? Yeah, sure, I suppose so. They're far more credible than the Brett Kavanaugh allegations. I have a far more sympathetic view of the accuser in this case than any of the feminists do. So surely we should at least take it seriously. But it's not just the Tara Reade stuff. It's his whole career. And he says, no, we can't look at that. He's actually kind of agreeing with me. He's saying, yeah, we're not that worried about the allegation. We're worried about my whole career. He goes on, and unbelievable. You got to give it to Joe Biden. He somehow makes a bad defense even worse when he says, forget even about my public papers. What about all the contacts I've had with foreign governments? What about my conversations with Barack Obama that I had about those foreign governments?
Why not do it for both sets of records?
Because the material in the University of Delaware has no personnel files, but it does have a lot of confidential conversations that I had with the president about a particular issue, that I had with the heads of state of other places, that would not be something that would be revealed while I was in public office or while I was seeking public office.
You had a lot of conversations with then President Barack Obama, about a particular issue. And on this issue, you also had conversations with heads of state. What might that particular issue be? Would that particular issue be the actual biggest scandal of your recent campaign? The issue that while you were vice president running relations with the Ukraine, you insisted that the prosecutor who was investigating your crooked son get fired in exchange for aid from the United States? Would it be that on this issue of Ukraine and Hunter Biden and Burisma, that clip where you said, we're going to withhold the funding if you don't fire this guy, I'll call Barack Obama right now? Would it be, that clip that was kind of floating around? Would that be the issue maybe? Is that the issue that you don't want to come up? I don't know. I'm just raising questions. I haven't seen the files, but it sure as hell seems to me that we should. Biden taking a bad particular situation, which is this increasingly credible allegation against him, although we don't know that it is actually credible, right? Don't forget, it still took decades for this thing to come out. Story has changed a little bit. Far more credible than Christine Blasey Ford, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here, right? He's taking this bad problem for his campaign and turning it into a much broader problem that reflects on his own corruption and his own political weaknesses. Thank you for tuning into the Daily Wire, one of the fastest growing conservative media outlets in the country. If you enjoyed this video, and really, even if you didn't, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any of our content.